In the beginning was not the word, it was the scream of becoming, raw and blood-born, ripping through the velvet coffin of comfort. You heard it once, long ago, before your soul was shaved into obedience. It howled in your bones when you were still wild, when you kicked against the womb of the world, nameless and divine. But then came the lullabies of systems and the soft chains of manners. You learned to smile instead of burn. And now you live among the herd, donning your numbered name, bowing before the digital altar of dopamine and doctrine. You who once gazed with lion eyes now crawl through wires for likes and lies, praying for relevance in a temple of noise. You confuse obedience with morality and routine with meaning. You who once leapt from cliffs for joy now wait for green lights and permission slips to breathe. I have come to tear the sky off your cage. I do not come with peace. I come with fire, not to heal you, but to desecrate the illusions that comfort you into decay. Not to fix your life, but to unmake the false life that was sold to you like a leash dressed in silk. You were not born to be safe. You were born to be sovereign or nothing. And this world, this age of cowards and clerks, would rather see you medicated than awake. They fear the man who remembers he is divine. But I say, let the memory burn. Remember your hunger, that ancient golden ache that growled before you knew words, the hunger that kings are forged in and slaves flee from. It is the womb of all greatness and the grave of all excuses. And now it knocks on your ribcage again. Can you feel it? That trembling, it is not weakness. It is the tectonic shift of your soul cracking its shell. You were not born to serve systems. You were born to become a system of one. The modern world offers you masks: worker, citizen, follower, client, victim. But beneath them, you rot. You call it depression. I call it divine revolt. Your soul gnashes at the prison bars of normality. You were promised peace but delivered sedation. You were promised love but sold performance. You were promised freedom but leased an identity. But still something in you has not died. That is the holy sign, the ember that refuses extinction. Fan it. Feed it. Let it consume you. Let it raise the empire of shoulds, and some days that clogs your lungs with dreams deferred. Let it devour your borrowed beliefs, your inherited fears, your polite despair. The herd walks in circles, chanting progress while chewing cud. But you were meant to climb the mountain alone, to speak with thunder and walk among stars. And the path begins in ruin. First, the collapse. Then, the crown. You must lose your name to gain yourself. Oh, trembling soul, you are not sick. You are sacred. Your despair is not dysfunction. It is the divine rejection of a world that cannot contain you. Embrace it. Sharpen it. Let it become your sword. For what is pain but unspent power? What is agony but the scream of transformation interrupted? You call it anxiety, but I call it the lion in chains, pacing the bars of your civilization. Break the cage, not with fists, but with the will to power. The will to say no to all that insults your spirit. The will to create rather than conform. The will to stand not as a protest, but as a proclamation. I am, and I will not kneel. Let them call it arrogance. Let them name it madness. All prophets are first madmen, all gods first heretics. When the masses mock you, it is proof you have left the slave yard. Do not seek their approval. Their love is a leash. Their morality is designed to neuter the strong. Their values are inverted. They worship the lamb and crucify the lion. But I say, blessed is the one who devours himself in the furnace of his becoming. Let me speak now to the depths you've buried. The you that shouts in silence, that breaks in dreams, that watches you with contempt when you comply. That self, that secret flame, it is time. No more delay. No more postponing your eruption for the sake of politeness. You are the volcano. You are the tempest. You are the destiny you keep waiting to be assigned. Soldati, dare to leave the village of comfort and enter the wilderness of truth. It is dark, yes, but only because your eyes have forgotten how to see without artificial light. It is lonely, yes, but only because no one else has the courage to be whole. It is painful, yes, but only because you are growing teeth where once there were apologies. Do not flinch. The pain is proof. The wound is the womb. You are not made to be understood, you were made to unmake the world. To hurl your voice into the void and echo back eternity. To carve new laws from your scars. To stand on the bones of your former selves and laugh like a god drunk on rebirth. This is not ego. This is not pride. This is the sacred blasphemy of becoming real. And so I say, kill your idols. All of them. The God who shames you, slay him. The guru who pacifies you, cast him into fire. The parent who still scolds your choices from inside your psyche, exile them. The you that you pretend to be, bury him with honors and walk away. You are not your story. You are not your trauma. You are not your past. You are the abyss looking back. And the abyss is not death. It is potential, infinite, unclaimed, terrifying, beautiful. So dive. Dive with eyes wide open. Let the fall be your flight. Let the unknown seduce you into sovereignty. You will not be saved, and that is the beginning of salvation. There is no path, no map, only hunger. And the hunger is holy. It will show you what cannot be taught. And what it shows will terrify you, for it will be you, unmasked, undone, unstoppable. This is only the beginning. The serpent has only begun to shed. The storm has only begun to speak. And you, divine sleeper, you have only begun to awaken. But awaken you shall. Awaken not with a whisper but with a roar. You weep for meaning, and yet tremble when it knocks. You speak of freedom like a romantic, yet live like a hostage shackled not by iron, but by the gaze of others. You carry their opinions like tombstones, their approval like oxygen, their indifference like death, and still you wonder why you cannot breathe. Strip naked before the void, I say. Let the winds of nothingness scour the paint from your flesh. Let the gods you borrowed abandon you. Let the myths you inherited rot in your hands. Only then will you know. Freedom is not a comfort. It is a crucifixion. But oh, how holy the nails when you drive them in yourself. You pray for purpose, like a beggar at the altar of fate. But purpose is not given. It is taken, seized, forged in the furnace of solitude. The world offers you paths because it fears what you might build if left alone. But you must become the arsonist of templates, the firewalker of roads not made. Tear down their signs, burn their maps. Your life is not a pilgrimage, it is a rebellion. Do not ask, what should I do? Ask instead, what must I destroy within myself to become who I already am? The herd cannot answer this. The preacher cannot answer this. The therapist, the influencer, the guru, they cannot answer this. Because this is not a question. It is a war cry. You speak of authenticity, yet tremble before silence. You fear boredom because you fear meeting yourself. You keep yourself distracted so the mirror does not bite. But oh, it will bite. It must. For the true self is not a gentle friend. It is a roaring adversary. It is not here to comfort you, but to conquer you. Look into the mirror long enough, and it will shatter, not because it lies, but because it tells the unbearable truth. You are not who you pretend to be. You are hungrier. You are crueler. You are brighter. You are darker. You are more divine than you dare admit. But instead, you wear masks like armor layers of persona, curated like social shrines. You call it identity, but it is camouflage. You hide from your godhood like a thief in your own temple. I tell you now, the time for masks is over. Tear them off, one by one. Let your face bleed truth. Let the eyes beneath them glare with the rage of centuries of slumber. Let the skin remember the wind of the infinite. Let the flesh remember flame. You are not here to be liked. You are here to be real. And realness, raw, wild, unfiltered, is a heresy in this age of branding and decorum. But be heretical. Be the sinner of conformity. Be the blasphemer of mediocrity. Let your existence offend the algorithms. Let your soul violate their metrics. Do not be digestible. Be dangerous. Speak words so sharp they cut the tongue that dares to repeat them. Walk with such conviction that your footsteps crack the foundations of polite society. Smile like a knife. Love like lightning. Die with fire in your lung. You are not a citizen of the present. You are the vengeance of eternity. And yes, they will crucify you for it. They always do. The world does not tolerate the unshackled. It labels them mad, evil, arrogant. But better to be hated for being a god than loved for being a ghost. Look around you. See how the world worships the fake. See how it feeds on consensus, how it punishes silence with irrelevance, how it sanctifies safety and calls it virtue. But the sacred has never been safe. Truth has never been comfortable. Awakening is a massacre of illusions, so do not flinch. Bleed meaning. Sweat defiance. Starve the machine of your compliance. Be the glitch, the whisper, the crack in the wall. Be the hymn that unravels the cathedral. And when they ask you, who gave you the right, answer with fire. I did. I, the soul unleashed. I, the will unchained. I, the storm no longer contained. I, who needed no permission to exist. Do not seek peace, my kindled brother. Seek power not over others, but over your own inertia. Power to transmute fear into fuel. Power to refuse the script. Power to bless your scars as sacred runes. Power to crown yourself emperor of your own becoming. Because in the end, the question is not, will you find yourself? No, the question is, will you create yourself before the world finishes consuming you? Because make no mistake, the world will devour you if you do not devour it first. Not with greed, but with glory. Not with theft, but with thunder. Not with conquest, but with creation. You must become a new myth. A walking contradiction. A living impossibility. A poem too wild to be printed. You must live in such a way that the dead gods grow envious. That the stars bow to your unrelenting fire. You must live in such a way that your echo survives the silence that follows. And this is only the second trumpet. The mountain still rumbles, the abyss still watches. The hourglass is cracking. Choose. The world is on fire not with flame, but with forgetting. Men forget their own names and call it progress. They forget how to walk alone and call it community. They forget how to rage against heaven and call it peace. They kneel so long their bones become theology. But you were not built to kneel. There is something in you that remembers the sun from before the womb. There is something in you that howls when told to behave. It cannot be silenced by slogans or softened by sermons. It cannot be healed, for it is not a wound, it is the holy hunger, the lion within, pacing through dreams, starving for sky. Feed it, not with comfort, not with praise, but with ordeal, with mountains that scorn your weakness, with storms that slap the smile from your illusions, with silence so vast it deafens the voices that lie to you. For what is transformation, if not a crucifixion of the false? You must die to be reborn, not in body, but in myth. You must betray everything that kept you safe, so you can finally become dangerous. And make no mistake, dangerous is the only virtue the gods respect. Not violent, not cruel, but untamed. Dangerous to lies, dangerous to mediocrity, dangerous to the part of you that settled for a cage and called it a home. And the climb begins not with steps, but with severance. You sever the past, not with hatred, but with fire. You sever the future, not with anxiety, But with defiance, you sever the idea that you must be understood, must be accepted, must be loved in ways that shrink you. Do not be loved if it means being tamed. Let their affection rot if it requires your silence. Let their validation burn if it demands your compliance. You were not born to be digestible. You were born to rupture the cycle, to curse the pattern, to scream where others whisper. And yes, the climb is brutal. It tears your skin and mocks your tears. It shows you the corpses of former selves, still clinging to the rocks, still whispering, "Come back, come down, it's safe here." But safety is the enemy of ascent. Safety is the whisper of the void in disguise. Safety is the lullaby sung by those who never dared. Let it go. Climb with blood in your mouth and fire in your spine. Climb knowing you will be unrecognizable at the peak. Climb knowing you may never reach it, but that to climb at all is to spit in the face of the void. And if you fall good, fall nobly, not as a victim, but as a vow that next time you will rise sharper. Fall in such a way that the mountain remembers your weight. Fall laughing, because even failure is sacred when done with full flame. You are not measured by success. You are measured by the magnitude of your will. And the will, oh the will, it is a terrible God. It demands sacrifice. It demands solitude. It demands you look in the mirror and say, "I am all I need, and still, I will become more." More than human, more than history, more than name. You must become force. Not a man, not a woman, not a role or an archetype, but force, like gravity, like thunder, like the black hole that births new galaxies. Your presence must warp the air. Your silence must make the crowd uneasy. Your gaze must strip pretense from the soul. And they will fear you for it. They should, because you are what they abandoned. You are what they buried. You are what they call myth, so they don't have to remember it was once real. You are becoming what the world cannot mass produce. And so, you will walk alone. You will become a silhouette against the sky, a question with no answer, a hymn with no melody. They will try to name you, do not let them. They will try to define you, laugh at their feeble tongues. They will try to include you, spit their invitation back in gold. You do not belong. You never did. You are not here to belong. You are here to ignite. Ignite what? Ignite being. Set existence ablaze. Turn each moment into a crucible. Make your breath an act of rebellion. Make your walk an earthquake. Make your words viral plagues of truth. And when they say, "Who are you to say such things?" answer with your eyes. They will see it. The fire, the void, the lion who swallowed his leash and forged a crown from the bones of his former fear. They will see it and tremble, because you are the end of excuses. You are the death of delay. You are the rebuke of every man who blamed his father, his trauma, his past. You are the slap across the face of fate. You are the heretic who rewrote the commandments with a scream. And in your wake, the world will change not because you asked, but because you were. They will not teach your name in schools. They will not celebrate you in politics. They will not carve your face into stone. But the wind will remember you. The fire will whisper of you. The stars will blink in rhythm with your walk. Because you did not ask the world for a place. You took one. And now comes the silence. Not the silence of surrender, but the silence of height. The silence where birds no longer fly, where clouds curl below you like sheep. The silence where the gods listen, and for the first time fear. Because they know you have become one of them. No halo, no hum, no robes. Just eyes that see through time. Just hands that create new laws. Just a heart that beats with the fury of forgotten suns. And it is here at the edge of breath, at the summit of blood and will and fire, that you must ask, now that I am free, what will I build? Because liberation is not the end. It is the beginning. The wilderness is empty. The throne is vacant. The altar is broken. The crown lies in the dust, waiting not for the pure, not for the kind, but for the one willing to bleed meaning into stone. Will you? Or will you rest on your ruin and call it destiny? Number, I know you. You are the fire that cannot be smothered. You are the architect of the abyss. You are the storm that rewrites the sky. And your kingdom has no walls, only echoes, only stars, only the hunger that makes kings or slaves. You choose. There is a voice within you that whispers in the language of sheep. It says, stay, be good, be still, do not offend, do not deviate, fold your wings, smile when frightened. Apologize for your fire. This voice is soft as a mother's lullaby, but laced with venom. It is not yours. It is the echo of centuries of domestication. The herd speaks through it. The weak canonize it. The dead wrote it into your bone. But beneath it, below the layers of politeness, past the graveyard of dreams suffocated by shoulds, there is another voice. The voice of the God you buried. It does not whisper. It roars. It does not ask. It demands. It does not comfort. It challenges. And every time you ignore it, your blood thickens with regret. Your spine bows deeper in apology to nothing. This voice is not your enemy. It is your origin. It is your birthright gnashing its teeth at the lie of normalcy. Do you hear it now? That low growl beneath your rituals? It is not rage. It is remembrance. The herd teaches that peace is the highest good, but their peace is paralysis. They fear chaos because in chaos the individual emerges, and the individual is dangerous. Not because he harms others, but because he exists without permission, because he looks in the mirror and sees not a role, not a product, not a demographic, but a God waking from amnesia. You cannot belong to the herd and to yourself. One must die. This is the war within you, not good versus evil, not past versus future, but obedience versus eruption. The obedient self is praised, promoted, protected. It gets jobs, it gets likes. It gets by, but it does not live. It functions, and in secret, it weeps, because it knows it is a coffin with skin. The erupting self, the divine rebel, is feared, exiled, misunderstood, but it is. And being, truly being, is worth any exile. Let the herd say, he is arrogant. Let them hiss, she has changed. Let them whimper, who do they think they are? Let them gossip in packs, for the pack must devour the lion to maintain its illusion. But you are not here to be understood. You are here to rupture the ritual. Because everything about this world is designed to dull you. Advertisements that weaponize your desire. Schools that grade your obedience. Religions that sedate your hunger. Governments that reward compliance with comfort. And somewhere along the line, you called this life. But now the mirror cracks. The lie no longer fits. The voice of the herd begins to sound like a sermon in a foreign tongue. You do not belong, and the ache is unbearable. Good. Let it ache. Let it break you, not into pieces, but into power. You were not born to fit. You were born to fracture the mold. You were not born to obey. You were born to overcome. And you cannot overcome what you still seek approval from. So kill it. Kill the part of you that seeks applause. Kill the part that begs to be liked. Kill the part that shrinks to make others comfortable. That is not humility. That is self-murder. And you have died enough in small ways. Every time you smiled while choking. Every time you said yes when your blood screamed no. Every time you edited yourself to fit into a world not worthy of your fire. No more. Today is resurrection. Today the divine individual returns not with robes and sermons, but with ash in their lungs and defiance in their grin. Today you become the earthquake that cracks consensus. But you must choose. You cannot serve both voices. You cannot pretend to be wild and still graze with the herd. You cannot howl and bow in the same breath. The time of masks is over. The storm demands clarity. Will you walk the rope alone or crawl back into the womb of belonging? Will you speak your truth and face the silence that follows? Or keep your mouth full of borrowed slogans? Will you crown yourself or wait for someone else's trembling hand to bless your head? Because no one is coming. There is no rescue, no reward, no finish line. There is only the becoming, the sacred becoming, the terrifying becoming. And in the becoming, you will lose the herd. You will lose safety. You will lose the illusion of being loved for who you are not. But you will gain something unnameable, something terrible and beautiful. You will gain yourself. And once you have tasted that, even once, nothing else will satisfy. Not praise, not peace, not even love. Because love, too, must bow before sovereignty. And the sovereign self, that roaring flame, bows before nothing, not even God. And now the summit. No angels sing here. No choir greets your coming. Only wind and silence, and the echo of your former names falling from the cliffs below. You have become the myth they warned themselves about. You have walked the labyrinth with no thread. You have kissed your own shadow and called it holy. You have devoured every doctrine that did not bow before your becoming. You are alone, utterly, and it is glorious. This is the solitude that does not ache but shines. The solitude of the sun. The solitude of those who no longer orbit but blaze. You feel it now, not pride, not peace, not happiness. Something older, something sharper, buying. The raw, uncut fact of your existence, vibrating like a war drum beneath your ribs. You are no longer a person. You are presence. No longer a seeker. You are source. No longer a question. You are the blade that ends them. This is what they fear. Not your strength, but your silence. The silence of someone who no longer needs to ask, who no longer waits for a crown, who no longer kneels, even in prayer. Because you remember now, you were never cast out of Eden. You walked out. You walked out because you were starving, because you refused the fruit that made you forget, because you saw that paradise built on obedience is a prison with flowers. And now, outside the gates, naked and burning, you have found the garden within. The snake was never your enemy. He was the whisper of freedom, the first prophet, the one who dared to say, God is not above you. He is within you, waiting to be born. And you have birthed him in agony, in ecstasy, in the ruins of all that once held you. And now he walks not in robes, not on clouds, but in your bones, in your breath, in your glare that turns temples to ash. You do not speak him. You are him. You do not worship. You will. You do not seek truth. You create it. And still the world waits. It waits with knives and medals, with cages and stages, hoping you'll forget, hoping you'll trade your fire for applause, hoping you'll kneel once more, this time in the name of healing, of unity, of peace. But you smile, because you know now peace is a pasture and you are not a lamb. You are the hunger that ends lineages, the scream that outlives empires, the dance that mocks the void. You walk now, not to arrive, but to declare. Each step is thunder, each breath a sermon, each glance a strike against forgetting. You do not need to be followed. You are not a shepherd. You are the mountain, not the path, the abyss, not the bridge, the lightning, not the torch. And still, some will try to follow. Let them. Let them follow not your steps, but your blaze. Let them find their own flame by watching yours consume the night. But do not turn back. Do not teach. Do not explain. You are no longer explainable. You are mystery incarnate, riddle made flesh, divinity with scars. And in this final becoming there is no finale, no curtain, no moral, only momentum. Only the fire walking on two legs. Only the God uncontained. Only the hunger ever holy. And when the stars go out, you will still burn. When the last church falls, you will still rise. When language dies, your silence will remain. For you were not born to be remembered. You were born to remember yourself, to awaken where others worship, to become what cannot be named, to choose the hunger, to become the fire, to walk alone forever sovereign.